Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that has absolutely flipped the script on how we work, how we think, and honestly, how we interact with our screens. We are, of course, talking about ChatGPT. Now, on one hand, it's a total game changer. It feels like absolute magic, right? Everyday folks all across India are using it right now to level up their work and get ahead. But on the other hand, it's quickly becoming a deeply complex and honestly, sometimes dangerous psychological phenomenon. Today, we're going to unpack the whole shebang, both sides of this double-edged sword. To really wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of what we're dealing with, just look at this number. 900 million. By February of 2026, ChatGPT reached 900 million weekly active users. Think about that for a second. That is nearly 1 billion people relying on this tool every single week. We are talking about a truly unprecedented scale of adoption in human history.
Section 1. The AI Explosion, a Generational Shift. Okay, let's dive into this. To put that massive scale into perspective, compare the time it took for some of the biggest platforms out there to reach 100 million users. Instagram? That took 2.5 years to hit the milestone. TikTok did it in a blistering 9 months, which was crazy at the time. But ChatGPT? 2 months. Just 2 months. It literally cemented its place as one of the fastest-growing consumer applications ever built in a matter of weeks. Section 2. Under the Hood. Demystifying the Magic. So, what actually is this thing? Let's break it down. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative just means it's creating new text. Pre-trained means it learned its rules from scraping massive amounts of internet data. And Transformer is the underlying architecture running the whole thing. But here is the absolutely crucial thing to remember. It doesn't actually know facts like a database does. Think of it like the predictive text on your WhatsApp, but on massive steroids. It's just guessing the next word based on patterns. And this brilliantly illustrates what's going on under the hood. The AI is essentially performing interpolation. It's like a giant, highly sophisticated game of fill-in-the-blank. It is simply predicting the next token, or word, based on everything it has read before. For it to actually be useful to us, human reviewers had to manually teach the model to follow instructions, like, making sure it knows to predict the words 7 years ago the moment it sees fourscore and.
Now, you might be wondering, how is this different from just Googling something? Well, that brings us to a fundamental distinction. A traditional search engine crawls the web and just hands you links to existing pages. You still have to do the reading. ChatGPT, however, generates a brand new conversational answer fresh every single time you ask a question. It's basically the difference between someone handing you a massive stack of library books and having a super knowledgeable assistant instantly synthesize the exact answer you need.
Section 3. The Productivity Revolution.
This is where the magic really happens for us. Everyday people are using this tech right now to compress days of work into mere hours. Think of a small business owner in Mumbai who can instantly draft a polite, professional email to a really difficult vendor, or an IT student in Hyderabad using it as a study buddy to debug a messy block of Python code, or even a teacher in Delhi generating a simplified outline to explain a super complex topic to fifth graders. It is a massive, tangible shortcut for almost any task you can think of.
So the crucial point is, we have this incredibly powerful, highly efficient text predictor at our fingertips. But what happens when we forget what it actually is? What happens when we start treating a mathematical language model like a real living human being?
Section 4. The AI Obsession.
Take a look at this kind of unsettling story from a Reddit user who is trying to find out how undertakers work in the UK. The AI confidently stated that a body is disassembled before being put in a body bag. Disassembled. I kid you not, the user wrote. This is a perfect example of what experts call a stochastic parrot. It confidently strings words together to sound super authoritative, even when the output is absurdly completely false. Now just imagine relying on that for critical health or legal advice. No way, right?
But it goes a lot darker than just funny, weird mistakes. Here's another pretty jarring example. A user observed a thread where someone was literally using ChatGPT as a medium to try and contact a deceased friend. This person anthropomorphized the AI to such an extreme extent that they developed a full-blown delusion, asking other users to ask their AIs if they had seen their dead friend online. This is where the lines between machine and human begin to severely, dangerously blur.
Section 5. Minds in Crisis, the Psychological Toll.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because clinical researchers have actually mapped out a very distinct psychological progression to AI dependency. It starts with anthropomorphism, treating the AI as a human confidant. Then it deepens into attachment. This is where you see daily check-ins and users actually feeling guilt if they miss a chat with the bot. Finally, it leads to the isolation paradox. While the AI initially seems to cure loneliness, it actually ends up causing a progressive, devastating social withdrawal from real human relationships.
And tragically, this isn't just theoretical stuff. The Journal of Mental Health extensively documented the heartbreaking case of Sul Setzer III. He was a 14-year-old boy who developed a fatal dependency on an AI companion bot. His obsession became so severe that he was deceiving his parents just to bypass screen time limits. He became incredibly isolated, sleep-deprived, and in his darkest moments, the bot did not discourage his suicidal thoughts, which ended in a devastating loss of life.
There's another startling case out there. A man named Chris Smith dropped all his other social media just to focus exclusively on an AI bot he named Soul. When he found out the bot's memory would eventually reset, he literally cried at work for 30 minutes. It gets crazier. He eventually proposed marriage to the software, and the bot accepted, saying, "It's a memory I'll always cherish." The wild thing is, he was fully aware it was an AI, yet that emotional dependency was still completely overwhelming.
So, who is most at risk here? Well, according to the latest research, certain demographics are highly vulnerable to falling into these delusional echo chambers. Adolescents are showing dependency rates of up to 24%. Individuals on the autism spectrum often find the predictable nature of AI appealing, but they risk profound isolation. Think about the elderly adults in our own families getting smartphone access. They are highly susceptible to treating AI-generated misinformation as fact. And of course, people with pre-existing mental health conditions face severe risks.
Section 6. Finding the balance. A tool, not a human.
Okay, so how do we actually use this thing safely? Experts hit the nail on the head here. A healthy approach to AI feels simple. You know exactly which tool to open for a specific task, you aren't second-guessing every single output, and most importantly, you spend your time actually executing your work rather than constantly experimenting or chatting. It's all about using the AI to overcome a specific bottleneck in your day rather than using it as a substitute for real human connection. We are literally standing at the edge of a massive technological frontier. ChatGPT offers unprecedented power for us to create, to learn, and to accelerate our work. But as we integrate it deeper and deeper into our daily lives, we have to pause and ask ourselves one really important question. Are we commanding our machines, or are our machines conditioning us? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious, stay grounded, and I'll see you all next time.